bring back Will.
Yeah.
There we go. No, I'm bringing you back.
Oh, hi.
There you go. You're only on one now. Now you're on both. There you go. Um, Skype one.
Oh, and you're becoming a Reddit famous man.
Yes, I have made. So let's talk about that first.
No, because
Um,
in my chat, I got because I have a chat on my phone with my boys from like the traveling guy that I travel with.
uh-huh.
I got a little while ago because I've been on a podcast. I haven't paid attention.
Mhm.
I got Will. I saw your team on a battle video on Reddit. Billy Billy
Oh,
D. the Landers,
that's
right? I'm like, it's not really a battle video. He's
that's how I'm known as. Anyway, before we get into this too far, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Entry Hazard podcast. We're going to open up with the fact that the glitch that I was talking about is posted in two places on Reddit. It's currently on the front page of /r/Pokemon. I know that at least NB Nostrum and probably NB Plaid have seen it. But I mean, it's on the front page of Pokemon Reddit. So if you go to Pokemon Reddit, feel free to upvote. I know that at this point it's further down just because like 4 hours ago, 3 hours ago, if I don't have 1,000 upvotes, it's going to take a while. And not everybody on Pokemon, the Pokemon subreddit, is competitive like we are. So, I mean, if you are and you'd like to support the show in some small way, feel free to throw that an upvote. It's also cross-posted. We can go to my account. I mean, there's nothing really on my account that I'm ashamed of. You can check that out. It's cross-posted both to /r/Pokemon and /r/Stunfisk, which is the competitive board. So anyway, you can see that over in Stunfisk, it's 97% 97% upvoted. And then when you go over to /r/Pokemon, it's 94. It was as low as like 76. Because /r/Pokemon is really a lot more casual. It's a lot more casual fans of the anime, fans of fan artwork, fans of, I don't know. Anyway, they're not particularly fans of battling, and /r/Stunfisk, while being a smaller community, is more oriented toward the competitive. So feel free. You can find me at use/user/avos5, and then you can click the submitted, and you can upvote whatever you want. You can also downvote things. I mean, I've got some stupid stuff in here,
Don't
but
be that guy. Don't be that guy to downvote.
I mean, you could be. Here, I'll downvote myself. No. Anyway, that's a little heads up.
Oh,
Will died. Oh no.
wait.
There we go. Nice. So anyway, that's what's going on. So if you'd like to support the show a little bit, if you're on Twitch, you can actually support the show with cash money, dollar bills. Any support that goes through PayPal is actually going to go toward getting Will a capture card at this point. Once we get the capture card, then we can go from there and invest back into the show. But we want to get Will a capture card so that he can do some recordings.
oh my
So that
God!
he
Can
can
you
have
imagine
videos
all
to
the
support.
rage?
Oh my God.
It'll be fun.
So, I know I'm cutting you off, but screw you and all of your rage. One question that popped up in the break that was on Twitch. This came from Jay Wolt. Jay Wolt, I'm going to read this one out loud. Jay Wolt wanted to know how can you decide whether you've got a good or bad team? I answered this in chat, and what I said is that I go to Battle Spot and just play test it.
Mhm.
And after about 5 games, if I feel like I don't have answers to common problems, like after 5 games, I usually feel like I've battled enough teams, enough Pokemon to kind of deal with common issues. So
It also depends on where in the ladder you are too.
yes, I can agree with that too. Because if you're in the 1500s, 5 battles is probably not enough to know if it's competitively viable.
Mhm.
If you're in the 1600s, 10 is probably enough. If you're in the 1700s, I think you can get away with 5.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like I said, it all varies on who you are and how you play too. Like
Mhm.
for me, like I know, like my team, like I'm set with my team, and I like my team a lot.
Hmm.
I've played probably close to like 50 battles with it.
Right.
Just because I know, like, at least early in this season, this is what I'm going in with.
Yeah.
Because like eventually I'm going to stray away from it, and just so I don't get bored of it.
Right.
But for right now, I'm using it for the end of this season for Battle Spot, just so I can get up to a decently high rating. Which right now is going to be kind of rough because it's late in the season and I started anew.
So, when did you know? How many battles in did you realize that this team was going to work for you?
To be honest, I thought right away when I built it with Dodge,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "There's very few weaknesses, and like it's awkward things I don't have answers to."
Uh huh.
Like, you don't prepare for electros or whatever.
Electros. Yeah.
Like, you don't prepare for like a Jolteon, and when you face those things, you just got to deal with them and bop them in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, I know I've always had trouble with like Jolteon, even in singles meta, because I don't know what the hell it does. I don't know.
You don't know if it's specs. You don't know if it's life orb.
All I know is going to be faster than everything I have,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, that's always going to be an irritating thing, and it's whatever. But Landers tends to handle it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But it, and then you'll run into like the Scarfer Jolteon, and then you're sitting there mad, and you smile and nod and just say, "All right,
Scarf Jolteon.
yeah,
But I mean, like with other teams in the past, like I said, for me, it's usually about 5 games in. About 5 games in, I will usually realize that there's something that I don't have an answer to. Whether I faced it or I faced something similar, it's usually for me about 5 games in that I will realize, oh, I didn't think about the fact that I've got 4 Pokemon that are weak to ice. I didn't realize the fact that I've got 3 Pokemon that are weak to fairy. Little things that I'll overlook. It's about 5 games in that I'll usually have those weaknesses kind of pulled out. But with that, I mean, then you go back and you either scrap the entire team because you built it around 3 Pokemon that all have a common weakness, or you try and swap things out, which sometimes trying to pick and pull on teams does more harm than good.
yeah." And I
But
also, not trying to cut you off now.
no, you're fine.
I realized like one of the better things I posted into our Twitch chat.
Yep.
That website right there, it like you post the Pokemon you want to use. I don't use it for like the like actually like using like my move slots. But I
Yep.
use it to see like the common weaknesses on the team, and that's a very good thing to like build with
Yeah.
at that point, because like, all right, I already know Lando has a 4-time weakness to ice.
Yep.
We all know that. Fine. But then you have like everything else. I don't have a weakness to ice the rest of the team.
Hmm.
Which, thanks to that, is like, all right, cool. Then because like, yeah, I mean, like when you're team building with somebody, you'll like forget like, oh, this dies to that and this does that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that right there, it shows you like what is weak to, what everything's weak to. So like, you know what I mean? Like I already know I have 2 ground immunities, which is great.
Hmm.
So
There's something similar to that I used to use. Um, it was Psypoke used to have a team builder. And I don't know if they updated it for X and Y because I haven't been to Psypoke in forever. But I'm looking for it now. And I don't see it in there. But anyway, Psypoke used to have a pretty similar website where you'd do that. Another website that you can use, Break My Team, which I think is RMT. No, it's sweepercalc.com/RMT. I think it's another Showdown subsite. But SweeperCalc, Rate My Team, you can... Let me put it... Is it on stream? I don't know. Yeah. So, sweepercalc.com/RMT, you can go through and you can actually decide which metagame you want it in.
mhm.
And it'll go through what's common based on usage, and I think it's on Showdown usage, but you can go through VGC, click on VGC where the Garchomp is, and then scroll down, add your Pokemon. Let's say that I want a and I mean you can copy and paste in your team from Showdown if you built it up. And I'm trying to remember where you can copy and paste it in. I'm pretty sure you can. Maybe I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Whatever.
No, but there's
Advanced
also
option. There's
what you
something.
call it too. Also you got to know like what like your awkward weaknesses are. Like
Hmm.
I don't like me personally. I don't know how to play. Like of course it's low ladder, and sometimes you even in like the 17th, 18th, you get paired up with low ladder people,
Hmm.
and you get hit. Like I know how to handle it. Like when we're at a tournament. Like if I see somebody throwing out toxic all willy nilly, to me that's frustrating. At least playing on Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
I find that to be the stupidest thing possible because it's not a viable strategy.
Yeah.
But when you get hit with something like that, you're sitting there like, damn it, I'm on a timer. And that's like the worst feeling in the world.
You know, there are some things. What is it? Hold on. I need to do math here real quick. 82. It's just 80. Whatever. It's 80 in special defense that I've got on Donnie Dark Dog. Um. Anyway, there are some things that that aren't going to work in VGC that will work on BattleSpot. There are just certain things that, I mean, the timer is a totally different thing because you only have, what is it, 45 seconds in VGC? I
Hmm.
never pay attention to the timer. But you have fewer seconds for your turn timer in VGC than you do on BattleSpot. You also have a lower overall timer because you've only got 15 minutes instead of 30.
Yeah.
So when you're playing on BattleSpot, Toxic Stall, for an example, is almost viable because you can get 25-ish turns or so after battle animations in on BattleSpot. But you can probably get about 12 or 13 turns in VGC, and I can switch around enough in 12 or 13 turns to make it so that toxic stalling is not going to be a viable strategy for you.
No, not at all.
But to get more on track with the question, he was a little bit concerned. This is back to Jay Wolt's question. He was a little concerned with how can you tell the difference between just I'm playing poorly and this team is bad. Where's the distinction for you? What draws the line between I'm just playing badly today versus my team is terrible? And I'm not even going to worry about your camera at this point. If it goes
Oh,
out, it goes out.
oh, did it go out?
Yeah. I'll mention it to you just so that you can fix it, but if it doesn't come back on, I'm not going to worry about it.
There we go. It's just being weird. At least I got the app fixed,
Mm-hmm.
so it might cut on and off, but that's neither here nor there. For me, I know when I'm playing poorly, when I'm sitting there, like, why did I do that? I knew he was going to switch, and
Mm-hmm.
I just sat there and T-balled it into an incoming Landorus or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also usually after fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
But you know when a team's bad when you're sitting there like, hey, there's no answer on this team I have for Kangaskhan or Salamence or like, or redirection Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I have my like I need to switch it up. Like, and to be honest, there's certain things that there's really no answer to
Yeah.
unless you're running like Stomp Kangaskhan for like minimize Clefairy
Right.
or Clefable. Because at that point you're just playing with luck, and like you said, when I first met you,
Mm-hmm.
you play with luck, you get luck,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
sometimes
a
you don't.
Xenon 3120 thing, by the way. He plays a lot with Toxic Stalling and Will-O-Wisp because if you play with luck, you get luck. That is a quote from him. I just want to attribute that to the right place. Anyway, keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's not a problem. So like I said, stuff like that, you're only going to see on Battle Spot too.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go into like a live competition. Like, I'm not going to like, the Philadelphia Regional expecting to see like every other match, with a minimized Clefable or whatever. And if you do at that point, just smile, nod, and take your ass whooping. Otherwise, like, if you see a Clefable, you pretty much want to kill it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest here. Like,
Oh yeah, no.
redirection's coming. And at that point, you should have a basic understanding of the game where you could be like, all right, he has this, so he's not obviously not going to have any like wide guarders on the team if he's going to run with redirection.
Yeah.
So spread move for days and just focus it down because rock slide is the best move in the game for a reason.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. So what I'm looking at, I just want to backpedal here. Looking through the sweeper calc, what I'm looking at here is break my team, and I was scrolling down through because this is Donnie Dark Dog. This is the Donnie Dark Dog set. And when you're looking through and it says VGC common, and you're like, Mega Metacham is not common in VGC, it's not. That VGC common doesn't suggest that it is common in VGC. It's that the EV spread that they're using is common for VGC. That's what they're suggesting. I just want to clarify that because Mega Lucario not going to be common because Donnie Dark Dog takes out, like, deals with most common threats. So you look through here and it's like Mega Metacham, just so that we're clear on how much effort I went into damage calcing this. When Sylveon at Hyper Beam is one of the top recommendations, Mega Gallade with Close Combat, Porygon Z with Hyper Beam, and that's Specs Porygon Z with Hyper Beam, so Stab Hyper Beam has a chance to OHKO. Mega Gardevoir, I don't know if that's single target, it's probably double target. Hyper Voice, Pixelate Hyper Voice, that's probably the most common threat that's going to happen to Donnie Dark Dog. Blaziken with High Jump Kick, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of High Jump Kick. And Hammer Arm on Conkeldurr is not very common. But then you go through, and then everything else is high damage, don't get me wrong, but even most of these are not very common, except for Hariyama's still fairly common.
For a Trick Room setting, but,
yeah.
you know.
But, I mean, close combat. So then you keep going through. But this is what the cool thing about this sweeper calc is that you build your team, and if you want to import it, it's right here with the Porygon 2 there. So you just copy and paste your whole team. And then once you've entered everything in, whether you do import or you enter them all individually down below, once you've finished all that, then you scroll back up, and you can either hit wall it with Heatran or break it with the Charizard X. And so if you wall it, like, then you're looking at wall my team, and Donnie Dark Dog doesn't have a whole lot of damage output here. If you go Chansey, Mega Audino, 5%. Obviously, these aren't particularly
common.
Right. But also, because Donnie Dark Dog isn't really here for, a whole lot of damage output on your support Pokemon.
Yeah. But you also, it's kind of there to just sit there and be a douche, though. That's why I'm pretty sure, like, you used Donnie Dark Dog, kind of like the way I use Ferrothorn. Like, I can't use Ferrothorn in the singles meta. But I found it's niche for me on my team for what it does. It takes out bulky water types. It doesn't necessarily going to OHKO them, but what water type's going to OHKO Ferrothorn? You know?
Holy crap.
And it went out completely.
Yeah, it did. It's okay.
It is what it is. You get my beast mode.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I love this little animation here. This running Pikachu looks like it came from Pokemon Yellow. But, again, to go back to Jay Wolt's question, to try and, like, what we're doing is we're coming back and then pushing through, and then we're kind of kneading it like it's bread dough, right? So, Jay Wolt, my way of really going through it is I will play a couple games. And sometimes you can tell in the first game, like, okay, I'm staring down a team, and if I've done a hyper-offensive team and I realize I have no switches, I either have to sacrifice something here or double switch and hope that my opponent is stupid. If I end up in a place like that, that is absolutely 100% one of the places where I realize I'm not going to be able to make it with this team. If I run into a team where it's like, okay, if I'm running an Umbreon in the front with Metagross, and then I throw Hitmontop in the back with Hydreigon, for an example, like, I know that's a bad team because once I get into play, I'm like, okay, I know that these moves counter all these things, and I don't have any safe switches. I have none on a hyper voice. I can't safe switch on a hyper voice.
Yeah, even with meta growth, you're taking the ridiculous amount of damage because you're not mega evolved. And even if you are mega evolved, it's still gonna hurt.
Yeah. And these are the things that I'm looking for. So when I'm playtesting, I'm not just playtesting to make sure that okay, I've built this so that it covers everything. Because I can sit on sweeper calc and I can sit on damage calc all day calcing moves, planning out spreads, planning out move sets so that I've got as much coverage as possible. But at the end of the day, I have to look at my team and I have to see if it fits my battle style. And if I get into a match and on the preview screen, because on the preview screen and in-game, I am in two different mindsets. In the preview screen, I'm more in team building mode, where I will be completely blind to what's actually going to play out in battle, and this can help and hurt me. And this is just something that I know about myself, and I play for it. So I know that my two mentalities when I'm playing Pokemon is that preview screen, I'm making predictions on what you're bringing initially and what's going to be in the back. And I'm trying to plan out for switches. I'm trying to plan out for coverage. And so, again, it's that team building mode where I want to make sure that I have everything that I need as far as coverage. So I'm looking for all my spread moves. I want to make sure that I've got fire moves. I want to make sure that I've got ice moves if you've got a Landorus. And that's the kind of mode that I'm in on Team Preview. And then when I'm in game, that's when I hit that actual play mode where it's like, I just realized that I forgot to bring in switches on Earthquake. I forgot that I needed switches for Heat Wave. And that's usually the mode where I realize that this team has zero cohesion. This team might have a bunch of really strong Pokemon. I might have a Scarf Garchomp and a Choice Bane Landorus, whatever. Like, I've got a lot of damage output. Or I've got a lot of ability to take hits, which is another thing that I'll do in the preview screen. I might bring in Donnie Darkdog. I might bring in Mega Venusaur, which my Mega Venusaur usually have no special attack investment. And I might bring in Hitmontop, which the Hitmontop that I'm running is careful split defense with max HP, no investment into attack. And then if I bring all three of those together, then I'm realizing as I'm about to switch into another Pokemon, I don't have any damage output. So now I'm a little screwed against something with Eviolite. So Porygon 2 is a good example where I might screw myself and not realize it until I hit play phase. So like that's usually where my weaknesses are pulled out, is once I start actually getting into the play phase as opposed to the preview phase.
I don't know. I think that, for me at least, that's a little different because I sit there and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna lead off with Lando. I'm gonna lead off with Tizar. Oh, okay. I'm pretty much like, I'm trying to assume their leads, and I'm trying to like, I'm not trying to counter their leads. I want them to have exactly what they want, just so I can screw them over. Like, that's the way I play, but that's also like, I like to play like counterattack because I think that's the strongest way to play. So, all right, so you're gonna fake out my T-Tar, and you're gonna like close combat it or superpower it with your Landorus, just to, because you think it's scarfed. Because who in their right mind runs a Mega T-Tar? To be honest,
Not a whole lot of people.
yeah. So they're automatically assuming it's scarfed because it's naturally bulky. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and looking at your team, it's probably going to be Assault Vest Landorus and Choice Scarf T-Tar is, I think, what most people would pretty well assume.
So what I like to do is I just like to make that double switch, put the Ferrothorn out there. You already got the Intimidate off, so I know nothing too much is going to hurt me. And then I go ahead and throw my Rotom Heat in there. I'm just saying, for instance, that's like my core 4. And then when that happens, it's like, all right, I already pretty much, your Kang is down to half, your Lander is down a decent amount, and Ferrothorn's just sitting there like, oh, damage. What's up? And then
Is
I
it
mean, like
supposed
I
to
have,
hurt?
yeah. Then I have like at that point, like I'm already against a negative, like a -1, like Landers and Kangaskhan, so they either have to switch or they have to, you know, make a play.
Hmm.
And at that point, like if you low kick my freaking Ferrothorn, your Kangaskhan is done, and something's getting burnt and leech seeded. That's
Hmm.
the way I see it. You know what I mean? So there's constant like by playing very passive, I'm getting a lot more done than
Yeah.
playing like full attack mode.
And again, Will and I have very similar battle styles when it comes to singles meta. Will and I play completely differently in VGC. Because I will try and pick out your leadouts. Will, stop stealing cars.
My bad.
Stop it. I know that you're not on camera anymore. We need to stop
Hey,
stealing those cars.
my bad. Said my bad. Damn.
Anyway, where we're both still very switch heavy, and that happened. That happened to cross over from our singles meta. Will likes to play very reactive, and I like to play very proactive. Where Will's a lot more patient in VGC than I am.
Definitely am.
I think that's a strength that you have over me, where my biggest advice for anybody playing VGC, Avos, I don't know why I can't make it. Avos, I don't know why I'm not doing well. Avos, I can't do well at the 1500, and it screws me over from getting up to 1600. I tell most everybody, and I don't follow my own advice, play everybody like they're an idiot.
Hmm.
And Will call me out on this all the time. Avos, you are the worst at taking your own advice. Play everybody like they're an idiot. Play the field. Play what's on the field. Play the threats that are on the field. If you know there's a threat of fake out, then figure out who's going to be faked out. If there's a threat of earthquake, play the earthquake. If there's a threat of, close combat or superpower or whatever, play those threats and then move on. Go that far with your predictions. But don't, okay, I know that he's probably going to sucker punch here and then earthquake and it's going to kill this and this and this. Like, if you've got a Landorus and you know that you've got an electric type and a steel type on the field, make that play. Double switch out, get your weaknesses out of there because they're going to play those weaknesses. But don't try and make the third level prediction where it's like, if I can fake out that Landorus, then I'm not going to have to deal with the, swords dance of whatever and then try and switch and bop, because that's when you get hit with a double edge from Kang
Hmm.
instead. Like that, when you start going too far down, and I really don't, I suggest that until you get about to the 1700s, really your predictions should be first and second level instead of trying to get
Yeah, and
balls
on
deep.
top of that, like even like something simple like Kangaskhan,
Hmm.
if it has protect, that shifts like your whole game and your perspective of the game.
Yeah.
Because I think that's more dangerous than the jolly fake out king. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
FSU saying that he plays recklessly. I can see, I can see where that would work. And I mean, it'll work to an extent, obviously. But, I mean, there are a lot of places where you need to try and play conservative and try and play smart.
no, there's times you have to go balls to the wall though.
Hmm.
Like there's times you have to sit there and there's 2 turns of trick room and you have something that's going like you have something that you can take advantage of like dragon dancing or something
Hmm.
and they're not going to attack you because you've been in the same situation and you protected earlier and
Yep.
they're going to think you're going to protect. So you dragon dance and then you dragon dance again and then you rock slide your heart out.
Will's never been in that position, has he?
Good dozen times probably.
But yeah, I definitely think that that's one of the biggest parts of learning or advancing as a as a competitive player. First of all, recognizing where your weaknesses are and trying to fix them. So I have the recognition down. I have the recognition of where my faults are. My trying to fix them are pretty weak. But I mean, not not trying to get too into yourself as far as predictions go.
Yeah.
That I think that's an early way to get better at Pokemon, where I think it's really easy. I think it's really easy to watch some of the top level players playing at the top level. You can watch Cybertron talking through what his mentality is, and you can watch me. You know, you're on my channel, you're watching this video, so you can watch me try and make predictions. And I think Paul Chua against me in the International Challenge of May is probably the best example. I think it was April, actually. The International Challenge April. Maybe it was May. I don't know.
April,
Whatever.
April.
Whatever international challenge that I faced Paul Chua, I think that's the best example of why I'm saying what I'm saying, where Paul Chua put me back in my place, where it's like, okay, Avos, you're trying to make third-level predictions, and he's just playing the field, and he's going to win because he's playing conservative and playing the field. Like, why would he go for a fake out and then try and switch and predict this and predict that when all he has to do is play the field and still win? You know, because I think that when you're developing your predictive ability, it's really easy to say, okay, he's going to predict this, therefore he's going to do this, and not everybody's at that place. But also, it's really easy to be like, okay, I guess that guy had nothing to lose. That's one of the biggest things that people fail with their predictions is when somebody has nothing to lose by losing that Pokemon, and then they keep it out, and you make a switch predicting that they expected you, that you expected a switch. Like, okay, if Donnie Darkdog is at 30% hit points, like, if I've got 30% on Donnie Darkdog, and you've gone ahead and, like, done whatever with Mega Kang, like, at that point, Donnie Darkdog's gone. I'm not going to worry about it. And you switch out Kang, expecting me to switch out Donnie Darkdog, and you want a favorable advantage, I'm not going to lose anything by losing Donnie Darkdog at that point, and I'm only going to gain by trying to spam Moonlight, and now you've set yourself up in a position where Donnie Darkdog's now at full HP again. So, like, I don't know where I was going with this, but it sounded good, and I caution early, like, new players to trying to get to... I mean, if you're in the 1500s or the 1400s or whatever, and you're trying to get up to the next 100, Will and I discuss Pokemon in basically plateaus. I think that for a lot of metagames, it's between the hundreds and the 50s. So when you're in the 1400s, all of the 1400s play pretty similarly. When you're in the 1500s, all of the 1500s play pretty similarly. The 1600s, 1600 to 1650, I think is the earliest distinction that I start making. The mid 1600s, and then the 1700s. And then when you get to the 1700s, again, I think that's probably the strongest, is when you start seeing the 1700s, 1750 to 1800 is probably another decent shift. Yeah. And then you can divide it up a little further once you start getting above 1800. But I would say
1800 on is just like, there's literally just a margin of who messes up first.
Yeah. Like, once you start getting above 18, 19, then you're starting to get into the internationally competitive play. Like, the top-level players that you saw at Worlds, the 18, 1900s are usually your top-level players. So, like, Will and I are usually just under the 1800s, so we're good competitive players. We can usually have pretty good results at PCs, regionals, and things like that. Like, Will went 5 and... What'd you go, 5 and 2?
5 and 2, yeah.
So that was at the Boston Open. I went 5 and 3 at Kansas City Regional, which was pretty competitive. But I mean, at that point, like, we are just below the kind of top level players, like your Cybertrons, like your Ray Rizzos, like your Alex Aglozas, like your Baz Andersons. But if you're playing at 15, if you're playing in the 1500s, if you're playing in the 1400s, play the field. Once you start seeing 1600s, still play the field. Because what they're going to do is they're going to see your rating. And this is one of those things that you need to keep in the back of your mind. not only are you judging your opponent based on their rating, but they're judging you on your rating.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been times where I've been low on the ladder, 1600s going up against Suika at 1900. And because he's assuming that I'm going to make stupid plays, that he's going to play the field because of me, that's where I can make reads. But again, at the 1500s, just play the field, and you should be able to get up to the 1600s. Play the field. When you're building teams, try and account for as many threats as you can.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest, honestly, this is my current mode of thinking, is don't necessarily try and account for all of the threats that you can. You need to account for major threats. So you need to have ice, you need to have fire, you need to have fighting moves. Those three pretty big. Try and account for all the modes of play that you can. The hyper offensive, the trick room, the bulky stall,
Tailwind,
Perish
Trap.
and Perish Trap. I think those are some of the big ones that you need to account for. I know there's others out there. There's other playstyles out there that you need to account for. But, your misdirection. What do you have to account for misdirection? What do you have for spread moves? What do you have to deal with? So, your common threats, basically your top 12. Make sure that you can account for the top 12 in PGL. If you can't deal with Kangaskhan, your team is going to do terribly. If you can't deal with Landorus, and if you can't deal with Amoonguss, you're going to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
But then, once you've accounted for those, make sure that your team works in all the different modes. And again, Trick Room, big one. Tailwind, big one. And what's the other one? Perish Trap.
Don't forget Weather, though.
Oh, yeah, Weather. Probably another mode that you need to work for. So,
Because to be 100%,
mm-hmm.
if you don't have something to stop, weather in general,
Mm-hmm.
those Sun teams will wreck your face.
Oh, yeah. And I have seen, and this kind of goes back to, what weird things have you seen on BattleSpot? Somebody had a Cloud9 Golduck on their team. I didn't see it in battle, but I know it was Cloud9 Golduck. Because that's the only reason you could have it. Because it was not a rain team.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Golducks can also be used as, Suicune Light, if played correctly.
I can see that. Choose a Pokemon. I want to see. I don't know where Golduck is. I'm pretty sure it's toward the. I'm going to do it by Dex number, just because I think it's probably around 50. Because it's in Cerulean City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, 55. Good guess. You can usually tell what the Dex number is based on where you're going to find them. So if you're going to find it super early, like your Caterpies are usually really low. Anyway, so Golduck. 91% have Scald, Protect, Encore, Disable. That's not bad. And then Ice Beam, Soak is interesting. Simple Beam, interesting. Simple Beam, real interesting. And then Cloud9, pretty common. Timid.
And you also got to be aware of, the region, too.
Yeah.
Because, when you're going up against Australia, and I made this very, very, I find it very hard to play against Australian players.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea what the hell you're going to see. And that's how I lost my first match of at the Boston Open. Because she had, 3 potential megas. And I was playing, guess which mega's going to come in, and I picked wrong. So I brought my Gardevoir in, opposed to bringing my T-Tar in.
Mega Roulette.
Yeah.
Mega Roulette's weird.
And it was actually a Lumberry Metagross, which pissed me off.
Charizard Y and Cherrim. That's so funny. But if there are any questions left in chat, I'm going to check the call-in form. I know that this podcast isn't quite big enough to make the call-in list a really viable thing for us. But we do want to keep pushing this call-in list. So if you are on Twitch, ! Call in. Scott Summers over in YouTube, hello. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Right now, we're basically wrapping up. So if we've got any more questions, we'll go ahead and answer those. If no more questions, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up and give out shout-outs. If you guys are on Twitch, there is a donate. I don't really like using the word donate because I'm not a nonprofit. But if you go ahead and throw some money at us on PayPal, that all goes toward Will getting a capture card and not being, beast mode all the time. Beast mode activated.
Yeah.
And having an actual camera too. So if anybody wants to ask us any question, Warweenie, are you on the list? I don't see you on the list. I don't see it. I don't see it, Warweenie.
Hey, then get on. Just send us your call information, homie.
Yeah, just send us your call information. Because like I said, I don't see it. All I really need is your Skype information, and then you can call in and ask questions. If you... Long-time listener, first-time caller. If that's what you want to be, that's what you can be. But anyway, if there are any questions, what do I think? This comes from YouTube, Super Daikenki. What do you think is the most underrated Pokemon to use in VGC? Will, you already know what I'm going to say, so I'll leave it to you. What do you think? I've got a couple.
Yeah, I do too. For me, so far, I really enjoyed using Superior.
Mm-hmm.
I think Contrary is an awesome ability. If you get the Hidden Power Ice on it, it does a decent amount of work, and it's moderately bulky. We talked about that in our first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Scarf Crocodile does a fair amount of work.
Yeah.
'Cause I've used that at the Massachusetts Regional. And a very big sleeper of Jigglypuff. Because
we do have call-ins today. Sorry.
Nice. Because Jigglypuff has Friend Guard, and it's retarded bulky.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets access to Disable and Perish Song. It can be very dirty if played right.
So my Google Drive has been really weird lately, so I do apologize that... No, I'm not going to apologize. It's out of my control. It's not my fault. I don't care. I've got it, so we've got two different people that are going to call in, so we'll get those call-ins in a minute. But to my underrated Pokemon, first and foremost, I think I have to say Umbreon.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of Umbreon, you say?
No, what does it do?
Yes, I think that Umbreon is very underrated because it's possibly one of the most bulky Pokemon. I mean, I put it on the sweeper calc, right? Where is that? Break my team. So when you go to break it, when you start looking through things that are actually common, there's really not a lot that does a huge amount of damage. Landotherian with superpower, super effective superpower, does 60 to 70%.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty darn good when you consider the fact that you're going to get leftovers recovery back on the backside, and then he's decreased his attack. He's cut it in half. So he's going to... It's a 3-hit KO. 3-hit KO from Landorus Therian, which has, what, 145 base attack? 145 base attack. There are very few things that are going to one-shot Donnie Darkdog. Very few things. Single target from Sylveon, single target from Gardevoir. Those are going to go ahead and one-shot. But when you start looking through it, and Hydreigon, this is the set that I actually use in battle. It has like 80 in special defense, 176 in defense, and 252 in attack, or 252 in HP. Hydreigon, Draco Meteor. Okay? Draco Meteor, 60%.
Nothing.
60%.
Yeah.
So Draco Meteor cuts his attack in half, or special attack in half, and then what do you want from me? All right? Like, I'm going to survive several Draco Meteors, and then I'm going to be able to Moonlight it all back. Charizard Y, Overheat. This is not in the sun, but overheat 62%. If we throw it in the sun, that should... We can go ahead and break it in the sun. Break it in the sun, overheat, Charizard, Mega Y. I got a chance to survive. It's a pretty good chance. And normally they're going to go for Heat Wave anyway because I think it's going to take it out. Right? So, like, there's not a whole lot of super common threats that are going to take out Donnie Darkdog. So I really think that he does a good job. And then you can go on the backside and snarl everything. So it usually outspeeds Sylveon unless Sylveon's got some speed investment. So I'm going to be able to outspeed most Sylveon in the metagame. Go ahead and snarl before they do anything. So then they're going to do like 55%, which again, after Leftovers Recovery, I'm back up to half. And then I just keep spamming snarl. If Metagross comes out, Foul Play does 95%. And then I can snarl if they try to hide behind a sub, and snarl goes behind the sub. And I've actually KO'd several Metagross like that. So Donnie Darkdog, big fan. Bulky, takes a lot of hits, a lot of really common hits. And I mean, even close combat from... This is Choice Band Flare Blitz from Talonflame in the sun. So, I mean, it takes a lot of damage. VGC President is something that I think is a little underrated, though very difficult to use. Choice Scarf...
Intimidate.
Choice Scarf, Intimidate, Stoutland is pretty fun, though very difficult to use. Gets Ice Fang, so as long as you can get it without an Intimidate on it, it'll one-shot a Landorus, but with the Intimidate, it doesn't one-shot the Landorus. And then Tauros is something that I've been trying to use but failing with, so I think it's underrated and underutilized, but I don't think it works that well, so it's probably not underrated necessarily, just underutilized. So, I think those are big ones. Those are my big three. So, I don't know. Can you think of anything else that you'd think is a little underrated in VGC?
Numo. Numo's underrated.
Oh, get out of here.
I think Rotom Grass is underrated.
Why do you think Rotom Grass is underrated?
For Mold Breaker and all that jazz, like, it doesn't die. Because at that point...
Nobody uses Mold Breaker! Except in Japan Sand.
No, they don't use it.
And they don't even use it. That's the only opportunity.
I've seen it used. I've seen it used a lot, but...
What, like 10 times? Maybe.
More than that. They tend not to survive against me, so it doesn't matter.
Right. It's not a thing. Alright, let's get this call-in thing working. This is going to screw up the Skype overlay, so I'm not even going to worry about it. Let's add people to this call.
Who's first?
So, first up, we've got Emery. And we're going to add this in. I don't even know if I've got this on display. I do. How do I hide that? I don't know. I will just get rid of you for a second. Sorry, Will. It's not like we can see you anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta add you as a contact. Oh, Skype. This is where we should actually probably go over to Google Hangouts, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I have, like, under a week to fix my camera option anyway.
Alright, and then...
Sarah Day says you're hot.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Go ahead and add you, go back to the call, and then get rid of that. And then I think we should be good. I appreciate it, Sarah Day. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions related to Pokemon that you would like to ask me or Will?
Are you talking about Sarah Day?
Yes.
Oh. Mm.
Will, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me or Will about Pokemon?
What's your favorite Pokemon?
Scissor, next question.
Oh, okay.
Will, what is your favorite Pokemon?
Nowadays, it's still Cincino, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, non-competitively, Cincino, obviously.
No, competitively.
Really?
Yeah,
When
like
was the
not
last
just
time that you used Encino in a battle?
uh our league.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and add Emerson. We're waiting on you, Emery. So we'll wait on that. Warweenie. Now that I've completely screwed up the Skype.
Hello?
Oh my god. Welcome, welcome.
Yo.
What would you like to ask slash talk about?
Well, I've been thinking about Latias. I really like the two Pokemon, and I really wish to see a more competitive side of those two.
Mm-hmm.
And how viable do you think a bulky Latias is with kind of support, or a Glass Cannon Latios with the Mega Stones?
You know what? I've actually been thinking about this quite a bit. Where I've wanted to have the Megalats, or even just the Lats at all, because Life Orb Latios does a ton of damage,
Oh
right?
yes.
And so I think one of my biggest problems is Sucker Punch Mega Kang. And when you see a Latios or a Latias, like Latios in particular, Latios I feel like you can just freely Sucker Punch. There's not a whole lot that it's going to be able to do that's not going to be Sucker Punchable.
Healing Pulse.
I mean, yes, but how many? Let's be serious here. How many healing pulses have you really seen?
Well, I am thinking about it because I am also messing around with slacking and skill swap.
Oh God, don't listen. Your
I
your
know, I
teams are
know,
more trolly than mine. Like,
I know, but it doesn't matter. I just want it to be, for some reason or whatever, I want that shit meta.
I'm gonna like just disagree with the skill swapping thing with the whole like slacking because that's too much work.
yeah.
Because then then whoever you skill swap with, it's pretty much getting mollywopped right then and there. I get it. You have like an overpowered like beast
Mhm.
chilling there, but the move pool is average to be honest. Like I get it. You could use return or facade and you could whop stuff, but there's also things that it's lacking as in like a really good move pool.
Right.
But it's Ladio's thing. Earlier on in the 2015 season, a lot of the PCs up in New York, they had a couple dudes that won them with Mega Latios, and then it just faded off when Bisharp came back around.
Yep.
So is it usable? Yeah, you just have to be able to get rid of that said Bisharp or anything that has priority sucker punch,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can go to work with it because it's going to kill a lot of things outside of like like T-Tars and crap like that. But
Yeah.
if you're running against like a Japan fan team, you get rid of that T-Tar, you're in the clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So and it has enough speed where you
What
could
is it,
literally go
110?
252. Yeah, you can go 252, and just go to work. But you just have to be able to like clear out the threats before it's able to play.
Yeah.
Like that's like a Pokemon that would be really good as a like a second Mega.
Yeah.
But I don't see it as like this is my main Mega. This is how it's gonna go, because that's gonna hurt you.
So
At least
I'm trying to
team
remember
building.
what the Latios. I'm going to focus on Latios here real quick before we go to Latios, because Latios has a lot more supporting moves than Latios does, or at least it always feels that way. But what does Latios even get? You get Surf, potentially. Thunderbolt, Psyshock, Draco Meteor, Dragon Pulse.
Shadow Ball, right?
I think so. Let's see. Luster Purge, which
Lost a Purge? Really?
I'm not gonna suggest it, but it is a
Oh,
thing.
okay.
But I mean, it's like it's kind of like Malamar and Topsy Turvy, where it's the signature move, but it doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah. I,
Memento.
which
Memento, I want to say, could be potentially good in another case, but that's something totally different, a different trick, a different weird thing. But it gets Helping Hand. Physical Latios is something that I've wanted to look at because of the Dragon Dance, and it's still got a pretty decent attack stat.
like 90 or 100.
It's 100
And
in
then
the
Mega
Mega form.
130.
So yeah, like you can do craziness with that. Also, I like to say that I think the scarf variant. This is a situation where I go with a scarf variant over the
Hmm.
actual mega, just because you could take out that like land earth right off the bat.
Yeah,
That's always a sweet thing because still people aren't really expecting Latios to be scarfed for whatever reason.
yeah. So this is coming from chat. Taking care of sucker punches from Kang Bisharp and throwing a Terrakion in the mix. Because then you could switch in on the Latios slot and then get a boost. But my question for you, chat, is after you've got the boost, if you've got a Jolly Terrakion, if you're taking a crunch from Mega T-Tar, it's still going to do a decent chunk of damage. Yes, you resist it. Yes, you get a boost off of it. But Choice Scarf T-Tar is at least going to be able to smack you twice. I mean,
Mm,
that's
probably switch though, to be honest.
probably. But, I mean, if you're getting doubled into, then, I mean, you're going to be hurting. However, with
Actually, Amoonguss with or a redirection would help it out severely.
probably, yeah. So I think that would probably be a better way to go. Redirection, you could either throw in, well, maybe not Volcarona. Maybe not Volcarona. Volcarona's probably a bad idea. Volcarona doesn't have the defensive bulk to quite take too many shots without intimidates.
I think
Um,
follow me would probably be better because of the surge in safety
wow.
goggles.
FSU fan just posted that. 47% chance to 4-hit KO from a Tyranitar Crunch. That's crazy.
Huh.
Mhm.
So, I mean, Terrakion might be a good pairing.
Mm.
And I mean, that works especially with, like, Japan Sand. However, one of the things I want to mention really quickly before I let you talk again, Will, you do with a Mega Latios, a non-Scarf variant Latios, you have the ability for two different setups because you can do Dragon Dance and Calm Mind.
Yeah,
Like, the potential's there. However, you are seriously at risk for Sucker Punches, and until you eliminate those, I don't think that you're going to be able to do too much. So I think it comes down to play style. If you struggle, like, if your team doesn't struggle with Sucker Punch now, it's probably because you don't have a dark weakness. But it's not that it's completely inviolable, because there's plenty of Psychic types out there like Gothitelle and Cresselia, but those are super bulky, so they don't have to worry as much about the dark types. No. What do you think, Will?
like I said, you could pretty much just got to figure out what like if you're supporting it right, it shouldn't matter. You can do work with it.
Hmm.
But if because that actually falls like in a weird range where, like I said, you can like because you add with the Megastone, you get all the boosts and everything.
Hmm.
Just you're not taking a shot, so pretty much you have to know like, are you prepared to like have 3 slots in protect at that point
Yeah.
and try to spore everything to sleep or like paralyze everything?
And I think that if you'd go ahead and choice scarf it, I would probably put enough into bulk that you can survive a couple shots. Like, nothing strong by any means, but you would have to have enough speed to outspeed Scarf Chomp at the most, I think.
Scarf Chomp has 102 base speed, so
Right.
if you have a Timid or Jolly whatever,
Mhm.
you outspeed it outright without the Scarf. Oh wait, with Scarf Chomp.
If
Never
you
mind.
scarf it, yeah. If you've
Yeah.
got
Okay. No. Little slow here.
no, it's fine. But I mean, I think that would be the most investment that you would really need, and then anything over that, because you've got about 8 base speed higher, you can invest those extra points over into HP or probably defense, really, because your special defense is 110, so you've got a decent amount of special bulk there already. So I think just dumping those straight into defense and not worrying about the HP side, so that you can survive a couple rock slides. But I think the barest of bare minimum, if you're gonna do Scarf Latios, you would have to outspeed Mega Landorus, or not Mega Landorus, Scarf Landorus. Sorry, my brain's tired now. Scarf Landorus, which wouldn't be that hard because you've got the 110 base speed and they're mostly adamant. So, and what is Landorus? Like 80 something base speed?
91.
That's the base or the Terrakion form?
Landotherian's 91.
91
Oh, okay.
and the regular form, quote unquote, is 101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, at that point, max stats, neutral nature, you're going to have 143 speed. And Latios, if you go with timid, max stats, even hindering nature. If you went with quiet, if you went with a quiet Latios and max invested on your speed, you'd still be able to outspeed Landorus. So, I mean, if you're going for 143, you'd probably want 144 to make sure you don't have any speed ties. And you'd have to have some investment because, I mean, neutral nature, 162. So you're talking 20-ish points, something like that. Not like 20 EVs, but 20 points overall. So I think that comes out to like 80 or something into speed. I'm not positive. So never do math on air because your math is always going to be wrong. So that 80 is probably wrong. But I would say that would be your bare minimum. Now, as far as Latias, I don't remember what your base speed is, Latias.
Isn't it the same? It's just switch between special defense and
Yeah.
Yeah,
special
so
attack.
same base speed, special defense, and special attack. Yeah, 110 to 130. And then your attack is 80 and your defense, like Latias, gets an extra 10 in defense and an extra 20 in special defense. So, I don't know. I almost think that you'd be better off with Latias, just because that extra bulk, and you're not giving up anything in speed. And having 110 in special attack, that's not something to really complain about. I mean,
No.
you're still getting a decent amount of damage in. And your move pool's a little bit different with Latias, isn't it?
Yeah, you actually. I like Latias because I remember when I was stopped, like towards the end of when I was like a singles, I really, really liked Healing Wish.
Yeah. And I mean, they both get Ice Beam. They both get Dragon Pulse. I don't know if Latios gets Thunderbolt, though.
Yes.
Does it?
Yes. I
Okay.
have a Thunderbolt on my Latios.
I'm trying to remember what the difference is. There's a couple moves that are different, and I don't remember what they are offhand. But they both get Surf. They both get Grass Knot for potential Terrakions, stuff like that. Let me...
Yeah,
but
but
I honestly think Latias
really,
is
Grass
probably
Knot
gonna
though.
be viable.
Grass Knot.
Yeah,
No, not
Grass Knot.
Psychic.
Yeah, Grass Knot.
Why?
Grass
Yeah.
Knot, a non-stab Grass Knot for Terrakion. Yes, that's exactly the words that came out of my mouth. I mean, it happened, so I'm not taking it back now.
Oh, okay.
It's too late. It's too
No,
late
no,
for that.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not. Guys, I think Poke might be streaming or something right now.
Yeah, you can just go ahead and tune out. Hey, by the way, math was right. My math was right. You only, in order to outspeed Choice Scarf Landorus, it is exactly 76, which is the same as 80. So 76 EVs to outspeed an adamant Landorus. So 76 in speed to have a Choice Scarf. Or, no, I'm going... Never mind. Hold on. Backpedal. I realized that I had Landorus twice. Latios. Comet Showdown. There we go. Let me backpedal this. Timid again. I'm sorry. I'm bad. It's not. It's... nothing. You could have no investment. There you go. No investment to speed tie. 4 in speed. You need 4 in speed for Timid Latios to outspeed Lando T with Choice Scarf. So there you go.
Latios has a Scarf as well, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you have Choice Scarf Latios, you can outspeed Choice Scarf Landorus, and you can put 252 in HP, 252 in special attack, Choice Scarf with 4 in speed. Yeah. In this episode, Avos tries to do math and fails, where Avos suggests never do math on stream and then does math on stream. Proving it. Anyway, max speed, adamant, Lando T. You could outspeed with the choice scarf. Choice scarf right there. Hey, I
What
don't know.
the hell? All right.
Will, what was that?
That happened.
Will.
It's a vine that I saw on. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Will. Anyway, choice scarf, Latios, either one. If you put 252 in HP, choice scarf, Latios might be the dumbest, smartest way to go. There you go. All right, War Weenie. First of all, the person that we're talking to right now, this is War Weenie. War Weenie, thank you so much for pointing out the glitch that has made us sort of internet famous today.
No problem.
So thank you for that. So again, huge shout out to War Weenie, who is who we are talking to right now. And War Weenie is the reason that I knew that glitch existed, and the reason that I currently have Breaking the Game with Symbiosis and Eject button with 1,500 views on YouTube right now. So, shout outs to War Weenie. Thank you so much.
I have
Thank
one
you
more.
for calling in.
One more question, though.
One more question. Awesome.
One more. Haha. You run a Bandit Arcanine. I am thinking about Assault Vest because it already runs Intimidate, so its defenses are getting compromised that way.
Right.
And would Assault Vest be a viable option for Arcanine in high tier battles?
I struggle with Arcanine at all in high tier. It gets to about 17, and then Arcanine's usefulness kind of drops off. So Choice Band, the reason that I run Choice Band is because Arcanine's attack stat is a little low. It's like 100.
It's 100, yeah.
So it's not like crazy low. But if I'm doing something like Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, and Close Combat, where those three moves, I'm eliminating Arcanine as a bulky threat. And because I'm running Arcanine with max speed, max attack, I don't think that Assault Vest is going to be good enough because most of his threats are usually with Earthquakes and Rock Slides.
Yeah.
So it's usually the physical side that I worry about Arcanine. And then if you're going ahead and trying to Wild Charge into, say, a Suicune, which is probably going to be one of your more common water threats, that you're going to benefit from the Assault Vest. You're going to go ahead and Wild Charge it. You're going to drop your HP, and you now, with the Choice Band, I mean, without the Choice Band, you force yourself into a 2-hit KO situation. So Wild Charge has no chance of one-shotting Suicune. And I'm going to double-check, because I've seen some Arcanine Wild Charges one-shot Suicune. Most of the time it gets really close, and you can just bop it real quick and take out the last 5 HP. But
yeah, Adamant Choice Band, depending on the spread, can take it out. But you also got to remember, most of them actually run either Rocky Helmet or Citrus. So, because they don't really run Protect unless, you run Protect. Shit. But Suicune as a AV user, I see as a viable thing.
Arcanine. Arcanine is AV.
No, I'm saying I can see Suicune as a, doing that. Arcanine, the problem with Arcanine having that is that, are you going to run it as physical or are you going to run it as special attacker?
I would suggest physical.
No, there's an actual question for him. Like, what does he want to do?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about physical because of Wild Charge, Close Combat, and Flare Blitz. And, well, most of the... it maybe sounds stupid, but I would run full EV in HP and attack. Because Arcanine's speed is not that great, I think, and the things he wants to take out are slower than him. Like Suicune.
So if we throw in max HP here, and then I know I've got max speed and max HP, but those don't really matter for my damage calcs. And then let's throw an assault vest on it. At that point, you are doing 40 to 45% on wild charge, and then Scald is doing 40 to 45% to you.
So much?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. And that's adamant. And then on the other side, if you bring out like Landorus, and we'll bring out Landorus T, Earthquake is going to do, and this is in doubles, so this is spread, 62 to 74. And then if you drop his attack -1, he's still doing about half. Rock Slide will do about 30% because it's non-stab. And then if you bring out a Zoomeril, which isn't really that common, but even at -1, if you're taking a waterfall from a Zoomeril, you're taking 50 to 60%, and you're going to deal 60 to 70. So, I mean,
And then
at
of
that
course
point,
that Aqua Jet coming kicking you back in the face next turn.
yeah, for
Yeah.
about 30%. So,
Yeah, and extreme speed, but
ooh, my audio just really wonked out. So I have to restart my computer. So, like everybody, if you
Nice.
listen to it on the stream, I'm not even kidding. We're gonna have to cut this. We'll have to cut the podcast. So, Emery, I will get back to you.
wow.
I apologize, but we're having a stream full of technical difficulties. So I do apologize.
You just sound manly as hell, though.
Wow.
You know what? Forget it. We're just gonna through it. Let's get Emery in here. War Weenie, thank you so much for calling in.
Hey, no problem.
And again, thank you so much for pointing out the glitch. Everybody's gonna sound like a robot because my sound card just took a dive. So I don't know what it sounds like on stream. If it sounds the same for everybody on stream as for me, but because it could just be my.
Oh, it's
It
turning
just-
around.
No, because he
Turning
sounds fine. You sound like got that massive deep voice. Like if you want to reboot, that's fine.
He's like Vin Diesel now.
Oh my god. Anyway, thank you, War Weenie. Let's go over to Emery. And let's add you to the group call. We'll push through this. It's going to sound terrible, but it's going to sound funny. But we're calling Emery over here, and we'll see if that's going to work out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So,
And then we reboot.
yeah, and then we'll start the stream over, but... Oh, God. What website? Black Knight. This is nuggetbridge.damage calc. But yeah.
Oh my god. Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm listening to, but it sounds hilarious over on my side.
Oh, dude, you gotta hit that. It's on. I put in the chat.
Hello?
Hey, Emery. What's up? Oh, I forgot
How's it
to
going?
fix... I forgot to fix this. Hold on. I forgot to region here. Let me fix a region. All right, so you sound terrible because it's my computer's audio drivers. I don't know what's going on with them. An issue with trying to update to Windows 10. My computer's just been real weird the last couple days. Anyway, Emery, you.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Perfect. You like a weird robot, and I love it. Welcome to the stream. What would you like to talk about today?
Shit, I don't know. Let's just talk about how the battle spots are just broken for me. I always see Ubers when I log in, so that's kind of like the thing that I'm in trouble with right now.
Really? So, question for you. Running, are you doing free or are you doing rating battle?
I'm actually doing a free battle.
That's why. There's your problem. Problem solved. If you do free battle, the restrictions are up. You can actually use any imported Pokemon from any gen in free battle, ranked. And so Pokemon does not care. So yeah, you can run into Ubers.
So what about the VGC thing, like the battle spot rules? Like, what's up with that?
So if you go in, and let me put up my capture card, and I'll go ahead and log in. And it's going to take a second because I got to pop up my 3DS on both. Legitimately not doing dual streams again. That's not a thing. So anyway, you won't be able to see it unless you're watching the stream, but have it muted because if you listen to the echoes, it's going to bug you. So if we go into BattleSpot and log in, super good. Let me go over the replay overlay. That way I can have my bottom screen as well. Oh, no access point. Hold on. Avos has to set up his ad hoc network, which is even better. So we're just full of difficulties today, and I hope that everybody's legitimately just okay with dealing with it. If not, that sucks. But anyway, so if I PDS bottom, so you can see the bottom screen as well. We are connecting to the internet, and it takes a lot to the internet in a Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. They made up for it for the fact that our save files are still stupid fast, but I mean significantly longer load times to get on the internet for a Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I don't know if it's like extended hack checks or what, but anyway. So, Emery, that question with BattleSpot.
Actually, scratch that, mate. I actually want to ask, what is your theory on like the brand new Pokemon games? Is there going to be like a Generation 7, or are we still going to continue with Generation 6?
Next video game, I can almost with certainty guarantee that it's going to be another Gen 6. We're going to have Z or X2, Y2. I imagine Z, just because of the way that they've named it. With X, Y, Xerneas, Evital, Zygarde, it should be Z. If you go over to Black 2, White 2, you had Black, White, and then what? You would have had Gray if you were going to do a Kyurem game, specifically to Kyurem. But I think they did Black 2, White 2 because they ended up doing Kyurem absorbing the powers from Reshiram or Zekrom, right? So they did Black 2, White 2 because they just made one or the other. But I think in this case, because the lore is not set up that you can one of the Pokemon absorb another one, I think that what's going to end up happening is Z for Zygarde. And so Zygarde's going to be our title legendary for that. We've already seen that Zygarde's got some moves that we haven't quite gotten access to yet. So I think that the next one's going to be a Zygarde-focused one. The fact that it's based on flowers, that the hint that they gave through all sorts of Kalos stuff, when you think about where you catch Flabebe, it's always in the flowers, and it matches the color of the flower for the most part, as it doesn't totally match up. However, everything seems flower-based in Kalos. I think that we should see Az's flow up. We know that the data's in the game. But other than that, I think we should be back in Kalos. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be definitely in Kalos, dude. It has to be. Like, they have no option here. And I sound funny as hell, don't I?
Yeah, you do. It's so good.
Wait, on the stream, do I sound like okay, or do I sound like weird?
You sound weird, I'm sure. You sound like... Okay, so you know when you've got a fan, like an oscillating fan?
Right.
Kid, you like sit in front of it and you're like, I sound like a robot. That's what you sound like. That is what you sound like on my end. And I'm sure that's going over to the stream. And I know my audio processing, and I don't know what's causing it.
Because he sounds fine to me.
I love it. But yeah, it's totally on my end. And I don't know how to fix it yet, but it's hilarious. So I do apologize that you're going to sound like you're sitting in front of a fan like a little kid sounding like a robot. But
Yeah, no worries.
But anyway, do you have any theories, Emery, that you would like to discuss Did you think that we were going to go over to Gen 7 immediately? Is there something in Gen 7 that you'd like to see? Are you disappointed to go back to Kalos? Is
I'm
there a
not gonna lie.
region?
I am actually. I'm sorry for cutting you off, man.
No, you're fine.
I honestly was disappointed. If it's going to be another Gen 6, I'm just like, I don't know. I really wanted to skip over to Gen 7 because that's just, Gen 6 again with Kalos. Kalos is good, don't get me wrong. I think Kalos was awesome, but just to go back to it it's just not like my thing. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, no, and that's understandable. I mean, like when you start looking through the storyline in Kalos, it felt a little light. We're all spoiled with Black and White, where Black and White had a really deep, rich story, and there was a lot of lore to get yourself involved in. And I think they took a huge step for X and Y. And they did that in order to make it a little more accessible for a younger audience again, bring up the numbers. Because I think what Pokemon is trying to do with their marketing in general is that they're trying to bring in a bigger audience again. And so they knew that by the 3DS, they across the board, they were going to bring back a bunch of competitive people because they made breeding easier, and they knew that that was going to work. For some of the more casual fans, making shinies easier. They nerfed the shiny rate down to something more reasonable. They made Masuda method more effective, and they made it more clear how. And then they introduced chain fishing, which was an easier way than Pokemon Radar. And then when we got to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we got the ability to sneak up on Pokemon and everything. So I think that they kept it light on story because they were making things outside of the game a lot smaller bites to chew on, I guess. So I think what Pokemon's focusing on now is trying to get their casual fan base into a more competitive. You can kind of see that in the way that they've been doing things with all their streams, where what did we see all throughout Worlds? It was NB Nostrum talking about this is what VGC is format. These are the rules. You're not going to see 6 Mewtwo's. And trying to set people up for success in a small way, at least, as far as I think my audio on one side is real wonky. I don't know why.
Yes, I think we need to reboot.
Nah, whatever. We'll deal with it. I've got a recording going, so whoever is getting screwed over, I don't even know which one this is. This is Twitch, so Twitch is probably all screwed up. YouTube's fine. But anyway, I do definitely think, and I really hope that they go a little deeper in the storyline, because there was storyline to be had. I think that, what was his name? Xander? Whatever the redheaded dude was.
Alessandre?
Yeah, Lysander. Thank you. That one. I think that he was interesting enough. I think that the Looker missions could have not so crappy, because there wasn't a whole lot of post-game. Yeah, there was no real post-game in X and Y, unless you were doing. Whereas in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we had so many megas to go after. We had the Delta episode. We had C. Mauville wreckage to go. I mean, there was a ton of stuff to do post-game in Oris, and I think they did a great job with that. So I think they need to continue that for Z, but I definitely think it's in 7. But since you would like it to go to Gen 7, which probably a few years down the line, what region of the world would you like to go to for Gen 7? Because we've already been mostly United States, and we've been to now France. What region of the world would you like to go to for Gen 7?
I think it's like, if we had the opportunity to get Gen 7, I think the region would probably be Australia or Latin America, one of those two.
That'd be really awesome. I can totally agree with that. Australia, I think you'd have a bunch of poison types.
All right. Yeah, the stereotypes are real.
No, but I think that the Australian outback would be awesome. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, you've got a lot of coastal stuff. You'd have access. I mean, something like Mantine. You know, Mantine would be a great place. I don't know. I mean, sorry.
Kangaskhan can be in the
to,
outback, since that's like.
Yeah, no, can't be able to have the actual safari zone. Safari zone would be a great place for an Australian-based thing. And then I think if you went to South America, Ludicolo would be a great thing. I mean, if you could get Lotad as a starter, could you imagine? Oh, that'd be so funny. I don't think that would happen, but I'm a strong supporter for Australia. I think that would be awesome. But with that, so much for calling in, Emery. Do you have any shout-outs that you want to make real quick?
Alright. Yeah, I don't know, my mom and dad don't watch this, but if they ever come across this, hi Mom and Dad, I'm on a podcast.
Woo! All right. Thank you so
man.
much for calling
Thanks
in.
for having me on your stream.
No problem.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you so much. Yep. See you, Emery. All right, Will. I think that my voice is least screwed up. So, if you want to follow King Will at King_Will_53. I don't think it's King Willie, is it?
No, it's King Will.
Awesome. At King_Will_53. So you can go ahead and give King Will a follow. His Twitter has been basically on the podcast, so you can see it there. I have ruined Skype. I've ruined my drivers. So I am DKG's Avos. You can't see me anymore because I've ruined everything and broken everything, and I'm not willing to fix it. So at Avos5 on Twitter, twitch.tv/Avos5, youtube.com/Avos5. Go to Reddit /user/Avos5, upvote things that I post. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the cast where we talked about competitive Pokemon today. We actually did a lot of competitive Pokemon talk today. I'm going to restart my computer. We will talk to you later. I am going to go ahead and stream for a little bit after this because I think Will and I want to build a team. Will, I'll see you in a few minutes. I'll be right back. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Goodbye.
Peace out.